Hi everyone, it's Mr. Zarzak back with another video on Kirchhoff's rules. We're going to solve equations using Kirchhoff. More of this? Yes, more of this. Well, sort of. Better. Easier, faster. Kind of. Okay, this is one of the examples, okay, from class where we set up these loop equations for this. All right, and maybe we solved it, maybe we didn't. All right, it requires a bunch of algebra just so that we can see to compare. I did the algebra. All right, I'm going to show you the algebra. I know some of you are going to pause this and like try to copy all this down, and I can't stop you. That's your choice. It's good to know how to do it. Hopefully you're able to do it. If not, well, at least here's all the algebra. Okay, great, but that's not what this video is about. I don't want a video that's 2 hours long, we do an algebra. That's not the point, okay? So there's a way that we can check our work, okay, or we can just get our calculator to do it ourselves using the matrix function, okay? So this is a really useful tool, all right, that you'll use throughout your science and mathematics career, so you might as well learn how to do it now. Okay, so then how the heck do we get our calculator to solve the system's equations? Okay, it's easy once we set things up the right way. So what I did, okay, was I took and I pulled down our loop equations from that problem, okay, and I rearranged them. So like here, loop equation 1's got I2 and I1 in it, okay, so I rearranged it to where I have a numerical solution on one side of the equation, that's the 10, and the other side of the equation I got my variables, and I also threw in an I3. Now, the I3 is not actually in there, so it's got a 0 coefficient, so it's not actually in there, but you'll see that when we set up our matrix, we need coefficients. So you'll see what this means in a minute. Just follow along with what I'm doing. All right, if we look at loop number 2, okay, I did the same thing. I took the equation, I just rearranged it. Loop 2's got an I3 and an I1 in it, so I added an I2, and I threw a coefficient of 0 in front of it. For color coding, I guess I should have made it yellow, but who cares, whatever. It's not 0 times anything is 0. You'll see why we're doing this in just a second. All right, that third equation we got from KCL, okay, it's just showing the current in has got to equal the current out of the junction. I rearranged it so that it's got all three terms in it. Okay, the solution of which then would be equal to 0. Okay, great. Why do I want to do that? Well, if I take the three equations and I stack them on top of one another, okay, you'll see that I've got this so that the variables, the I1s, the I2s, and the I3s all line up, as do the solutions. Okay, those I1s, I2, I3, those are my unknowns. So just think in general terms, okay, like in math class, it'd be like X, Y, and Z. Okay, so those are just my generic variables. All right, this is now set up to be entered in as a matrix. Okay, so the way that we're going to type in our matrix, or the way that we're going to represent this as a matrix, I should say, okay, is it would look like this. Okay, so now what is this? Well, the first matrix, okay, with just the numbers, those are the coefficients that are in my formula. All right, and then my x, y, z, there's my variables, all right, and then the 10, 10, and the 0, that's the solution to each of the three of them written as a matrix. Okay, if you're not familiar with matrix, you can still use this function on your calculator. It's still a great tool. All right, for a more in-depth explanation, see your math class, all right, or your future math class. It doesn't matter, all right. This first matrix has just the coefficients, so we call it the coefficient matrix. All right, the one in the middle, there's all our variables. Okay, so we call it the variable matrix, and then the answers, that's our solution matrix. Okay, we're going to program in the coefficient matrix and the solution matrix, and we're going to get our calculator to solve for the variables, which again are just our three currents. Okay, so now how do I do that? Well, first I need to get these into my calculator. Okay, I put little reminders to myself. I pre-program these in matrix A and matrix B. Okay, so how the heck do I do that? Well, let's get my calculator out. Now, this is just a little calculator 84. It's like the free one that you can get off of the App Store, but all the graphing calculators all work exactly the same. All right, to access the matrix menu, it's in the left-hand column just below the math key. You have to hit the second button. Okay, so it's like that. It's a little second x to the -1. You see which says matrix. Okay, and then brings that up. Now, I've got some matrices pre-programmed in. Obviously, you won't, so how do you program them in? You select this edit. Okay, so now if I select matrix A, okay, well, I've already chosen it to be a 3 by 3, and notice I've got the coefficients programmed in. So like if I select the 3, look, it says this is the number of rows, this is the number of columns. Okay, and if I go through this, like, oh, this one's 5, and this one's 30, so I would just like type these in to my calculator. Okay, and when I'm done, I hit second, and quit. Okay, you got to do that part. Now, you hit second matrix again. You use that a lot. Okay, well, now it defaults to that name menu. So if I hit matrix A, that's the way I call the variable. Okay, it's not the same as going alpha A. This is specifically the matrix A. So if I press enter here, and this happens a lot on the app. Okay, if I'm pressing and nothing's happening, it's not a problem. Just close the thing and reopen it. Let it reload, and then, oh, there it is. Okay, and again, sometimes that happens. It's weird. I know it's just on the app on your calculator. It won't happen. If you're using the app, it will. So that's the fix. Okay, anyways, so the matrix, this A matrix is programmed in. Okay, let me go back to my calculator. So I need another matrix with 10, 10, 0. That's what I put in B. Okay, so again, second matrix. Okay, if I go to the edit, okay, this is how I'd program it in. Okay, so like I typed 3 because I wanted 3 rows, and 1 because I wanted 1 column, and then I typed in 10, 10, and 0. Okay, and then remember this part. Don't forget this part. You have to hit second quit to go out of there. Okay, then second matrix. Okay, there's matrix B. Let's make sure, up that's in there. Okay, great. So now, how do I actually solve this? It's real easy. Okay, this is the function that you type. Okay, second matrix, select A. You're going to raise that to the -1 or take the inverse. The X to the -1 key just happens to be the matrix key without the second. Then I press second matrix, hit B. Okay, so that's the way I type it, and I press enter. Okay, and lo and behold, it's going to spit back the solution. All right, those are the 3 currents. That is the solution to the matrix. Okay, if I scroll back up to all this nasty algebra, those are the answers that I solved for. There's I2, there's I3, there's I1. It's the same numbers. Pretty cool. All right, a lot faster than doing all that algebra. Okay, in the last screencast I made, okay, we analyzed this mess. Okay, we set up these equations. Okay, so for review, go look at the Kirchhoff Rules 3 lecture video thing. Okay, and you see where all these things come from. All right, I didn't do the algebra to solve the system of 4 equations. I'm not doing that, okay? But I got no problem with taking these equations, okay, and actually having some fun with them by programming it as a matrix. So let's do it. Why not? Okay, so there's my circuit. Here's my loop equations, okay, that I just pulled down from above. Again, see the previous video, okay, on Kirchhoff for this stuff, and I just wrote it in terms of, look at that, I1, I2, I4, and I5. Okay, you might remember from before I3 it shows up as an intermediary that we cancel out. Doesn't matter. Okay, it's a 4x4 matrix that we're going to solve. Here's loop 2. Okay, and again, I'm just writing this all in terms of my 4 variables, which is I1, I2, I4, and I5. Okay, here's my third loop equation. Great. Awesome. And then here's my equation from KCL. So 4 equations, 4 unknowns. Yuck. Okay, we would not want to do that algebraically. Not so bad if we program it as in a matrix. Okay, AP is not going to give you something this nasty. You might pop into something like this on WebAssign or decide to be an engineer, in which case you're going to need to know how to do this stuff. Okay, so here are my 4 equations written one on top of one another in a way that's going to allow me to put these in as a matrix. Okay, so this is what the equivalent matrix would look like. This is a 4x4 with all my coefficients. Okay, and then a 4x1 for my solution matrix. Okay, so then this is what I'm going to then go in and then plug in, okay, to my calculator to get a solution for this. I took these and I stored them in matrix C and matrix D. I could have overwritten A, but I wanted to keep that for this screencast so you could see it. All right, so just so you can see what I did here. Let me pull this up one more time. All right, so again, to get the access the matrix, I hit second and then matrix. Okay, C is that 4x4. Okay, again, I went and I pre-programmed, and oh, lo and behold, this thing is crashing again. Maybe that's what happens when you are running video and Notability and screencasting and asking your calculator to do a bunch of work. Okay, so anyway, so there it is. I programmed it into the matrix. Again, if I wanted to do that, I'd go into the edit, okay, and I would select this. Like there's all the coefficients. When you do, make sure second quit out, okay. Again, second matrix. There's matrix C. Okay, everything is still in there, looking good, great. Okay, matrix D, that's this what we call the solution matrix. Okay, so that's got all the answers to my system of equations. All right, so then once I've got it all typed in, no big deal. Matrix C to the -1, second matrix, times matrix D, press enter, and we get the solutions. It solved the 4 equations and 4 unknowns. Worth learning how to use a thing on my calculator and typing in some numbers. Okay, those are the solutions. How cool is that? All right, I just copied them over here so you can see. All right, so there you go. All right, any of these Kirchhoffs that you're doing, check them against using the matrix. Great tool. All right, thanks for watching, guys. See you next time.